Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Five words. President Donald Trump's foreign policy. How do they make you feel? What exactly would his foreign policy be? He has, helpfully, spelled it out a little.
Somebody criticized me the other day because they asked me what I'd do, and I said, I'm going to bomb the shit out of them. It's true. I don't care. Would I approve waterboarding? You bet your ass I'd approve it. I'm going to build a wall, and Mexico's going to pay for it, right? We can't continue to allow China to rape our country, and that's what they're doing. It's the greatest theft in the history of the world.
Well, it is likely there'll be more to it than that, but interestingly, North Korea appeared to endorse Mr. Trump today, calling him a wise politician and a far-sighted candidate. Well, to help us understand what it is a Trump presidency might consist of, we're joined by one of his foreign policy advisors, Waleed Phares, and thank you very much for joining us. You listened to that montage that we selected there. Do you really think that man is fit to be the leader of the United States in the Western world?
Yes, of course, Evan, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain a little bit more. You look at the montage and listen to it on the one hand, and then you listen to his foreign policy speech a few months ago, and then you realize that the general guidelines, that the explanations, that the interpretations are found more so in a read piece in foreign policy than in a montage that could be done in the media or even by his foes here in the United States. Of course, many of the things he said needs explanation. That's why we're trying to clarify as much as we can.
Clarify. Could I just ask a sort of quick fire round here, if I may, Mr. Phares?
Please.
You're not in favour of waterboarding personally, are you? Is that right?
You know, I'm a defense lawyer, and I know my words. I am against torture in general, but
right.
The debate in America is not about that specific issue as torture. I mean, we have a debate in Congress still till now. Is waterboarding considered as torture, or is it considered as the edge of torture, and therefore, in an extreme case of national security, one would consider it? That debate is not over, and I think that Mr. Trump, who made that statement, said later, I will work within our laws, and that means that he's going to go to Congress and debate not just this point, but many other points that are very similar or comparable.
Just to take another one out of the montage there, I mean, do you agree that China, which as I understand it has freely traded with the United States, or in a rules-based way traded with the United States, has been engaged in the biggest theft in the history of the world?
These are quote-unquote statements made at rallies, and of course they are strong, but we've seen similar or comparable strong statements made by another president who was an actor in Hollywood and became one of the most famous presidents of the United States, Mr. Reagan, or other statements made by other candidates. Maybe not that strong. The language used is strong, but what he means by that, and he explained it, is that we have a major problem. We have a significant problem with China, but he's willing to sit down once he is elected and when he is elected and then try to solve these issues.
Look, the big question, I suppose, on American foreign policy, particularly where populist politicians are involved, is there are two ways they can generally go. It's either we're going to get the hell out of the world and stop interfering and save our own troops, keep them at home, isolationism, and the other is we're going to go around the world and beat up the bad guys and show how strong we are. Of those two, isolation or you know, intervention, which side does Donald Trump fall?
That's a great question. We receive it all the time because of the various statements he makes, and because this is a new phenomenon, so even political scientists are puzzled by what it is. He's not an isolationist. He likes to cut deals with many countries. He likes to engage in building coalitions with the right partners on the one hand, and of course, on the other hand, he wants America's interest first, which every leader does, but not in public. I think there is a new term to define him, is functionalism, the term function. It's in function of the national interests of the United States, first level, and then second level, our allies and partners, and third level is the other countries in the world.
That is a very gloriously wonderful way of not answering a question, because you're an advisor who can barely tell us whether the guy's instincts are interventionist or isolationist. It's extraordinary.
Look, basically, these concepts are classical old concepts. I mean, look at liberal democracies around the world, including yours, ours, across the pond, France. I mean, it's very difficult to say if a country, if a presidency, or if a prime ministership or an administration are fully interventionist or fully isolationist. There may be areas that the country, which is a democracy, and America is a democracy, may not decide to go. And there may be other instances. For example, President Obama, when he was Senator Obama running for elections, he said, we're not going to intervene anymore ever after the war in Iraq. He just intervened in Libya, and he's just intervening in northern Iraq and northern Syria. So it's really the decision-making process in the country, regardless of ideology, that is going to decide. So, and that would be the case of Mr. Trump.
Waleed Phares, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.
I've been getting